Doing stage repair. Good evening. My name is Terry Piper. I am Vice President for Student Affairs and will serve as your narrator this evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2008 Freshman Convocation of the California State University Northridge, and yes, you may applaud. All please rise for the national anthem performed by the student group Acasola.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts colors we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' records of bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Home of the brave.
Thank you. You may all be seated. Tonight, a distinguished platform party has been assembled to welcome you as the newest members of our campus community as we embark upon the 50th anniversary celebration of California State University. It's our birthday year. Yeah. We'll sing that at the party afterwards. I'm going to introduce these folks, and I ask that you hold your applause until the entire platform party and special guests have been introduced. I ask that each of you who I introduce rise as I call your name and remain standing. To my right, to the left, Interim Vice President for Administration and Finance, Mr. Tom McCarran. Faculty President, Dr. Jennifer Matos. Vice President for Information Technology, Ms. Hillary Baker. Associated Students President, your student body president, Dr. Miguel Segura. President of our university, Dr. Jolene Kester. Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Harry Hellenbrand. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Barbara Ehrenreich. Our student speaker, Ms. Moya Smith. Vice President for University Advancement, Dr. Vance Peterson. CSUN Alumni Association President, Mr. Larry Torsky. President's Chief of Staff, Dr. Barbara Gross. In the back row, Dean Mike Kerb, College of Arts, Media and Communication, Dr. Robert Hooker. Dean, College of Business and Economics, Dr. William Jennings. Dean, Michael D. Eisner College of Education, Dr. Michael Spagna. Dean, College of Engineering and Computer Science, Dr. S. K. Ramesh. Dean, College of Health and Human Development, Dr. Sylvia Alva. Dean, College of Humanities, Dr. Beth Say. Dean, College of Science and Mathematics, Dr. Jerry Stinner. Dean, College of Social and Behavioral Sciences, Dr. Stella Theodoulou. And our Mace Bearer and Dean of the Oviatt Library, Dr. Susan Curzon. Please join me in thanking these distinguished guests. Platform party, please be seated. I would also like to acknowledge the participation of all of the associate deans who have served as honorary marshals, members of the faculty who are present, all of the campus department chairs, members of student affairs and academic affairs administrators, members of the President's Associates, the honor guard of continuing students. Thank you all for your participation. Yes, you may applaud. See, around here you can be a little more spontaneous. It's not high school. You know, anytime you feel it, because you're... You're going to make me sorry I said that, right? It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Jolene Kester, University President.
That was good. Let's do it again, a little louder. Yay! Well, this is a wonderful privilege that I have this evening to welcome you officially, freshman class of 2008 and graduating class of 2012. Yes. This convocation has been set up here at Cal State Northridge. This is the second year that we've done this in order to allow you to celebrate your presence here at this university. It allows you to officially join this greater university community. It allows you to imagine yourself in 4 years' time on this very part of the university campus as you graduate from the university, because this is where we do commencement. So in 4 years' time, at the end of that time, are you going to be here? Oh, I need to have it louder than that. Are you going to graduate? We're going to keep working on you in this 4-year graduation issue here. What does it mean to be a graduate from California State University, Northridge? First of all, you are getting an education in which you are going to be able to use what you're learning in your classrooms and apply that knowledge to the world. Relevant is the word that we use about your education. Employers tell us that Cal State Northridge students, when they come to them for jobs after you all graduate, know how to work. And we're very proud of that simple description that Cal State Northridge students receive when they go out into the work world. The other hallmark of a Cal State Northridge alum is that you will get an education that will allow you to think and to reflect. We begin that process this evening with a speaker, Barbara Ehrenreich, who is going to challenge you. Challenge your points of view. Perhaps, yes, she's going to challenge you. Perhaps with points of view that you find uncomfortable or that you don't want to accept. But that's what a college education is about. It's about being able to think, hear ideas, hear points of view that are not necessarily your own, but to analyze and reflect on them. And we begin that aspect of your education formally this evening in this honors convocation. Now, you've got some responsibilities here as well. If you're going to be successful, you have to make a commitment to participate in the learning process. You have to show up. Attend classes. You have to ask for help. If you don't understand what's happening in your classes or you don't understand those academic regulations, you've got to make good choices. You've got to have priorities. You've got to be involved beyond the classroom. Allows you to put to use what it is you learn in the classroom. And you need to strive for excellence. That's what we're looking for from all of you who will be graduates of California State University, Northridge. Welcome to California State University, Northridge. I look forward to seeing you at your graduation in the year 2012.
Each year at California State University, Northridge, 4 students are named as outstanding graduating seniors. These students are chosen for exemplary scholarship, meaningful involvement on campus and in the community, and for overcoming personal life challenges. Our student speaker was named an outstanding graduating senior last spring at the University Honors Convocation, an accomplishment to which I hope each of you will aspire. She graduated with a degree in Pan-African Studies, earning a place on the Dean's List every semester while at CSUN. During her senior year, she was selected to the highly competitive Congressional Black Caucus Foundation internship program in Washington, D.C. While there, she conducted research in support of the Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science. Moya was also chosen to present a paper at the National Council on Black Student Black Studies Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. She has volunteered with the Reading to Kids program at Esperanza Elementary School and with the university's Justice Corps program. Moya plans to attend law school and then serve her community as a local politician. She hopes to focus on the needs of children. Moya's resume only partially reveals the many attributes that led to her selection as an outstanding graduating senior. We are pleased to have her share her experience and pearls of wisdom with the freshman class of 2008. Please warmly welcome Ms. Moya Smith.
Thank you, Dr. Piper, for that gracious introduction. While in college, I moved 3 times, 2 times to different states. My mom was in and out of rehabilitation centers, and my father was deported back to Jamaica. While in college, you're going to go through many challenges and obstacles, but the true challenge is, how do you overcome those obstacles while you're in college? Today, as you heard, I stand here as an outstanding graduating senior, and I graduated CSUN with a CSUN GPA of a 3.9. So thank you. Thanks. So you don't need to let the obstacles that come forth act as a hindrance. In fact, let them give you momentum to persevere and continue. There are 5 key things that I remember that truly helped me focus and really achieve what I've achieved thus far. 1 was being ready to work on day 1. When I first got here, being ready to start. 2, ask for help when you need it. 3, forming study groups. 4, taking an ethnic studies class. And 5, dispelling any self-doubt that you may have. Let's get into number 1. Be ready to work on day 1. We always hear news pundits say about Barack Obama, is he ready to work? Can he answer the phone call at 3 a.m. in the morning? Some of us know that he can, right? But we have to do that as well. While we're not running for president, we still have to be ready to work on day 1. When you get into class, pay attention right away and have your books ready. I know books are expensive, but try to buy them the first day. And take the time to skim the first chapter. I know we all think once we're there, first day, 1, the teacher's going to take about 10 minutes to introduce themselves. 2, we're going to go over the syllabus for about 10 minutes. And then at about 20, 25 minutes, we're out of class. That's not the case. I've had teachers that come, hand out the syllabus, and start to lecture. So if I didn't review the first chapter, I'd be behind. So think about being behind. Day 1, when you have 3 or 4 of the classes to worry about. So it's very, very important to be ready right when you get to class. 2, ask for help. Your teachers, your professors, your counselors, they're great resources that you can use. I know I went to a teacher and I gave her my personal statement and I said, this is very personal and, I was kind of ashamed of, what was in it. She said, Moya, what you went through is something that everyone has went through in a sense. Everyone has a story. So my point by saying that is you don't know what your teachers have to offer and resources they have unless or until you ask them. Take the time to really get to know them because they have jewels of resources that they can offer. And also, if you need help beyond that, go to your counselor. It's included in our tuition, so you might as well use it. Put it to good use. 3, form study groups. Study groups are the secret to success while in college. A study group is about 2 to 8 people. You can instant message, you can talk over the phone, you can talk 10 minutes before class, 10 minutes after class. But the important part is to really start conversating with your fellow classmates about what's going on in class. I had a professor that gave us 20 pages of reading, 3 to 4 pages of a writing assignment that's due the next day of class, along with simultaneously reading a novel while writing a 20-page paper at the end of the semester about it. That's a lot of work to really try to do on your own. So we had no other choice but to form study groups. And by us forming a study group, we all excelled in the class, and it benefited everyone. So you really have to take the time to really get involved in a study group if the class is difficult, even if it's not. 4, I strongly encourage everyone taking an ethnic studies class. Yes, my major was Pan-African Studies, but that's not the only reason why I'm saying you should take it. The United States is diverse, Southern California is diverse. It's really important that you take the time to learn another culture. CSUN has a plethora of classes: Pan-African Studies, Chicano-Chicana Studies, Modern Jewish Studies, even Women's Studies, which is really important. So let's take the time to really take those classes when you're looking for your Title V class or your writing class. Those type of classes are taken in different ethnic studies classes as well. So take the time to really get involved in that. And lastly, and most importantly, dispel any self-doubt that you may have. You've earned the right to be here. You worked very hard to get here. So anything that you may think of a reason why you shouldn't be here, throw it out your mind. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't even be here. I grew up poor. I'm an African American. I'm a woman. My mother was on drugs, and my dad was incarcerated. For those 5 reasons right there, I should not be here. But what you have to remember is whatever you went through, whatever your challenges were, it's an element in your life. It does not define who you are. You define who you are, and you will be whoever you want to be if you are focused and you're determined. And I want you to remember that. So if you ever have that voice that's coming in your head, or if you have a friend, you have a mother, or someone in your life telling you that you're not good enough, you're not worth it, you can't do it, you say, I can do anything. I can do anything. And you tell yourself that over and over again until that thought or that time has passed and you are ready to embark on whatever your goal is. But just remember that. In conclusion, you have to remember that college is this platform to success. College is this platform to learn all the tools that you're going to need in life. You're going to need to learn work ethic, being ready to work on day 1. 2, asking for help when you need it. 3, teamwork, study groups, working with others. 4, embracing diversity. That's something that's very important. And dispelling any self-doubt that you may have about yourself. So I want to say congratulations. I hope to see you here again 4 years from now.
Thank you, Moya. We are all very proud of you, and I look forward to voting for you in 20 years in November. Good evening. My name is Harry Hellenbrand, and I serve as the Vice President of Academic Affairs. It is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening. Journalist, historian, and social critic Barbara Ehrenreich is the author of 14 books, including Nickeled and Dimed, on Not Getting By in America. This 2001 New York Times bestseller has been chosen as the 2008 Freshman Common Reading book. It examines working-class poverty through the lens of her attempt to live on the minimum wage. Barbara Ehrenreich has joined that rare group of chroniclers, including James Agee and Walker Evans of Let Us Now Praise Famous Men, who not only witness for us that in matters of class, America is still a house divided, but who treat the hardworking people with dignity, not condescending pity. Required reading at more than 500 colleges and universities, the book exemplifies why in 2004 she received the National Institute Puffin Foundation Prize for Creative Citizenship. It is given annually to an American who challenges the status quo through distinctive, courageous, imaginative work. Please join me in welcoming our speaker, Barbara Ehrenreich. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to Northridge. It's an honor to be part of welcoming you to your beginning of your college careers. Congratulations for getting admitted. That's already a big achievement that you should be very proud of. Now, I understand that some of you were told to read my book. I'm sorry, I didn't write it with the idea anybody would have to read it. But I'm here to talk about some of the issues it raises. Poverty, and I want to start with our culture's favorite myth about poverty, which is that poverty occurs because there's something wrong with the poor. They lead bad lifestyles, they're promiscuous, they're lazy, they have too many children, etc. They have only themselves to blame. That's the myth. And it's because of this myth, by the way, that when welfare was ended, when the bill was signed to end, quote, welfare as we know it, that bill provided $100 million of federal money in chastity training for low-income women. You know what chastity training is? Kind of like abstinence education, only for grown-ups. So just imagine, this was 1996, and you have President Bill Clinton signing into law something that required chastity training. Unfortunately, not for himself. Now, it's the same lifestyle of theory of poverty that shaped George W. Bush's anti-poverty program. I bet you didn't know he had an anti-poverty program. Well, he does. It's rather small. It's one thing only. They found the solution in Washington to poverty, especially for women, and that is marriage. I don't know, I've tried it a lot of times, it never worked for me, but that was the idea. I think it would work if the government were willing to draft CEOs to marry women in poverty, although they haven't done that so far. Now, I have my own theory of poverty, which I've been trying to get across for quite a few years now, and that is that poverty is not a character failing, it's not a wrong-headed lifestyle, it's a shortage of money. And that shortage of money is caused by a lack of adequate pay. Now, this is what I found out, basically, when I did the research for Nickel and Dimed. I set out with that book, it was originally a magazine assignment, to see whether I could support myself, one person, on the wages I could make in just getting, whatever jobs I could apply for without a resume, basically. I had to leave home. I had to find the cheapest possible accommodations and the best paying jobs I could get. By the way, the jobs I had in that book, that was the best I could do without, of course, my resume. Although I don't know if my resume would have helped because I never saw a help wanted ad for a political writer. I in particular never saw a help wanted ad for a sarcastic feminist political writer. But anyway, as you know, if you read the book, I did this in 3 different cities. I worked as a waitress, a hotel housekeeper, a maid with a house cleaning service, a nursing home aide, and a Walmart associate. I just want to say a couple of words about getting those jobs. If you get them, first you got to take a drug test. Anybody here ever have to take a drug test? Good. How'd you do? No. Talk about that later. Then there's a personality test. This was fascinating. Most of the questions were pretty easy, like this one. This is a real question, too. Quote, in the last year, I have stolen, parentheses, check dollar amount below, worth of goods from my employers. If you can't get that one right, the work world is not for you. Forget about it, Or this one, which pops up on a lot of companies' tests, agree or disagree, it is easier to work when you're a little bit high. Yeah, that's, actually, if you think about that one, it's kind of hard. Now, all the jobs I had were difficult. In several ways, they were physically hard. I was expecting that. What was more of a surprise to me, and I think this is a very important thing to emphasize on a college campus, is that these jobs were mentally challenging for me. My PhD did not help. I'll give you one example, Walmart. I was assigned to ladies' wear. Oh, I thought that'll be nice. I'll be giving fashion advice to the ladies of Minnesota, where I was living. Well, that's not how it works in Walmart. My job was to pick up the clothes that people throw on the floor, which is a sport in the big box stores. Find things that have been misplaced, put everything back. People hide things in funny areas in big box stores. I had to put it back. Meaning I had to memorize the exact locations of hundreds of different items, which would then be rotated every few days for no other purpose than to convince me I have Alzheimer's disease. I don't know. So I learned something here. That's just one example. No job is unskilled. I never use the word unskilled anymore. Every job takes intelligence and skill and a great deal of concentration and deserves our respect. Now, I want to add that these jobs were also a lot harder than they had to be because of the strange atmosphere you contend with in low-wage workplaces. Rules like no talking, rules like no drinking water, or the matter of bathroom breaks. I was naive enough to think they were a human right. On some jobs, they were so rare that I began to look back on that drug test with nostalgia. I didn't realize that was the last chance you might get. This is serious. This is a health hazard when you can't relieve yourself. Anyway, I survived the work. I was not so successful, though, at making ends meet. I averaged $7 an hour, which is the equivalent of $8.91 an hour in dollars today, $2,008. I could not make ends meet on that, and the problem for me was rent. I tried everything. Was not looking for nice studio apartments. I was looking in trailer parks. I lived in trailer parks. I was looking at residential motels, and you have a lot of those around the LA area. You know why people live in them even though they're expensive often? Because you don't need first month's rent and security deposit to get in. And that can be way too much if you're earning about $8 an hour. Now, I had a lot of trouble finding places. And ultimately, it was in the Twin Cities area. I had to admit it was hopeless. I couldn't find anything for under $800 a month. And I'm talking about motel rooms that didn't even have a fridge or a microwave in them. That was what they were charging was less than I was earning at Walmart. Now, as I was doing this, I had advantages compared to a lot of people who work in these jobs. I didn't have small children with me. I didn't have kids with me. I tried to get my kids to come with me, but I don't know. It's a funny thing. When they get to be your age or a little older, they don't want to go with Mom on her strange journalistic projects. Another advantage, which I'm embarrassed to mention, I'm white. There were places where I worked where I could tell that I was being steered to slightly better paying, less back-breaking jobs for no reason I could figure out than my skin color. And that's a terrible thing to say about America in the 21st century. Now, a lot of people have two jobs. There are lots of things you can do to try to make it work. But I certainly worked alongside a lot of people, and you'll meet them in the book, who couldn't make it, homeless workers, full-time workers who were homeless. And you know what's really sad? They didn't think of themselves as homeless, because if you have a vehicle to sleep in, you don't consider yourself homeless anymore. You're a step above that. I worked alongside people who were not getting enough to eat. This is in America, working people. I thought these women were skipping lunch because they were on diets. That's how clueless I was. They didn't have money. Not that we exactly got a lunch break either. Now, I don't think what I'm saying, or what I wrote about in the book, is news to a lot of you here. How many of you here have worked in these kinds of jobs? Good. Or have parents or other family members, siblings, cousins who work in these jobs? In fact, I think you're probably in college right now, so you'll never have to work in those jobs again, right? Right, okay. Now, one thing that came really clear to me in all this is how wrong the official poverty level is in America. It's totally off. At $7 an hour, or what would be $9 an hour today, I wouldn't have been, quote, in poverty by the federal government's measurements. According to that official level, 12.5% of Americans are in poverty. When you do better measures, and many scholars have done the calculations, it comes out to be more like 25% of Americans today living in poverty. Now, we get a lot of false and misleading explanations for poverty. I want to just mention one of them, in addition to those ideas about character defects, is illegal immigration. Illegal immigrants have become our big scapegoats. The real crime, I say, is not that they come into this country without visas. The real crime is the way they are treated when they get here. Now, I just want to mention a group you might want to get involved with these people. That is the Los Angeles car wash workers who've been trying to organize into a union. Yes, they're probably mostly undocumented, but I don't check people's papers before I shake their hands. They're trying to organize into a union because now they're only paid between $3.50 and $5 an hour. That's totally illegal. I say that's the crime. The crime is the mistreatment and the exploitation of workers in this country. Now, if you really want to think about the sources of poverty, the problems of America, I say you have to look at the other end of the social spectrum and look at the unimaginable buildup of wealth at the other end of the spectrum. I am now, in fact, trying to convince my publisher that I should have a multi-million-dollar book advance to go undercover among the very rich. Yeah, for the sake of journalism, someone's got to do it. Go to those charity balls and those, spas and whatever that is they go. All right, she just laughs, but it would be the perfect sequel to Nickel and Dimed. Because all that economic misery is the flip side of the enormous wealth that is built up at the other end of the spectrum in America. Here is a statistic to chew on. The richest 1% of Americans now has more wealth together, that 1%, than the bottom 90%. Now, that's a strange distribution of wealth. Sales of private jets have been soaring. Low-wage people take multiple bus trips to work. The market for cosmetic surgery is booming. 46 million Americans have no health insurance and often no health care. Almost 1 million Americans are homeless, and we have a Republican presidential candidate who, when he was asked how many homes he has, couldn't remember. The number turned out to be 8. I'm talking about John McCain. Now, there's a connection between all that wealth at the top and the poverty at the bottom. Take Walmart. USA Today reported a few years ago that the CEO of Walmart was making $66 million a year with its stock options included. Contrast that to what I earned at Walmart, $7 an hour. And I calculate I would have had to work 5,000 years at Walmart to make what this guy makes in 1 year. And a sad thing, in 5,000 years, I probably wouldn't get a promotion because Walmart doesn't like to promote women. Now, I just want to mention the government's role in all this because we do have an election coming up. In the face of poverty, growing poverty and inequality, what has been the Bush administration's #1 domestic economic priority? First question at college. Tax cuts for the rich, financed in part by cuts in social programs for the poor, the elderly, and the children, including a $13 billion cut in student aid. Now, as a result of these policies, taking from the poor and giving to the rich, we have become, or are rapidly becoming, a society divided into the gated communities at one end and the trailer parks and the tenements on the other. Is this a sustainable situation? A lot of economists used to say, yeah, well, that's just how it is. What does it matter? Some people are poor, some people are rich. Then came August 2007, 1 year ago, and the first wave on defaults on subprime mortgages. The poor could no longer keep up with their debts, and that precipitated global financial turmoil. We're seeing the results now. Massive foreclosures on homes, defaults on debts, depressed buying power, widespread unemployment, even among college-educated workers. So what can be done? Well, some simple things, a list here, assignments if you like. We need a minimum wage in this country that is actually enough to live on. If you work full-time, you ought to be able to live at some basic level of decency and safety. At least you ought to be able to live indoors. We need universal health insurance, everybody. And how about, when we're at it, some sick days for American workers? Because right now you can be fired for staying home with a sick child. We need affordable housing. We need support for higher education so that you will not leave college burdened by impossible debts. And where is the money going to come from? Well, for one thing, we could start taxing the rich again, as we used to do in this country. And another thing, we could re-examine our country's current spending, like the $10 billion a month that goes for the war in Iraq. Now, how will we bring these changes about? Only by working for political change at the grassroots level, political change to bring about economic justice and real opportunity for all Americans. And I just want to end on a sort of personal note, especially for those of you who are the first in your families ever to go to college. Special congratulations to you. For me, I know college opened up opportunities my parents could not have imagined. I hope it does the same for you. I know it will. And I hope you go on to achieve great things, along, I hope, with making some money in whatever career you choose. But I want you to promise me one thing right now, that however far you go in life, that you will never forget where you came from, that you will never forget the struggles and hard work of your parents and your grandparents, work that was in most cases exhausting and underpaid, and that you will commit yourselves to making this into a society that honors everybody's contribution with respect and adequate pay. So you've got 4 years now. Learn everything you can here. Soak up every bit of knowledge and skill so you can go out there and raise hell. Thank you.
Let's give Barbara another round of applause and say thank you for your provocative remarks. We have a small Cal State Northridge memento for you, Barbara. I'm actually going to show it to you and then just leave it sitting here so that someone can carry it up the stairs for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more round of applause. At this time, I would like to ask Associated Students President Miguel Segura to join me at the microphone, and I'd like to ask the platform party to stand. Associated Students President Miguel Segura.
All right, hello everybody. Once again, I want to welcome you all to, well, my fellow managers to CSUN. I know that during the days of orientation, all of you guys were working hard, learning our alma mater. So you guys better all know it. I'm just playing around. It's actually behind, the words are actually behind the book, so if you guys could go ahead and look at them. Professor Harris and the jazz band will play the alma mater once, and we would jump in on the second time. You guys all got it? All right. So I want to make sure that all the help here is ready. Orientation leaders, are you guys ready? Jazz A band, are you guys ready? Akasola, are you guys ready? Okay, now freshmen, are you guys ready? Okay, wait, just to let you know, this has never ever been done before. You guys are actually going to be the first class to do this. So I want you guys to show CSUN that fall 08 freshmen, you guys are hip and cool, and you guys are bringing school pride to our campus by singing the alma mater as the 50th birthday present to our university. Now, freshmen, are you guys ready? I can't hear you guys. Are you guys ready? Okay, if I may ask all you to please stand. Thank you for the first performance that will go down in history of the CSUN alma mater sung by the fall 08 freshman class that's hip and cool. And remember, let's sing it all loud. Ready? Say it loud.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, freshman class 2008, for that birthday rendition of the university's alma mater. It was terrific. Would you all be seated for just one more short period of time? You're going to be hearing that alma mater during the coming years. You're going to hear it on the university's carillon. Listen carefully throughout the day. And it's going to mark the recessional for today's event. The alma mater was written by a Cal State Northridge alum, Richard Kaufman. So he gave that gift to all of us to celebrate our connections to this university. I want to thank several groups of people. I want to begin by having all of the new student orientation leaders and university housing residence assistants to please stand, wave their hands, and have you give them a big round of applause. I also want to acknowledge Others who have made this evening possible. No applause on these until I get through this longer list. The University Student Union, the Associated Students, Professor Matt Harris, and the Cal State Northridge Jazz A Band, Acasolo, members of campus staff, interpreters from the National Center on Deafness, institutional technology and the video production staff, members of the Freshman Convocation Committee chaired by Tom Piernick. Now please join me in thanking all of these people. At the conclusion of the event tonight, there will be a reception. Means food, everybody. Food up here on the portico of the library. So you are the freshman class of 2008. It's my hope, the university's hope, that this convocation signifies your commitment to learning relevant material, to learning to make the world a better place, to learning to think critically about ideas, to challenge ideas, to challenge assumptions, to challenge the way things are, and ultimately to make the world a better place. You walk with us tonight up these stairs as you join officially this campus community. I hope that walk means that you are committing to the university, most importantly, committing to your education here at Cal State Northridge. My very best wishes for your success here at Cal State Northridge. I now conclude the 2008 Freshman Convocation. Hail to the Matadors!